Welcome back once again to the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship for 2024. We've moved from the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi to the Party City. Dubai Autodrome is one of the toughest race circuits in the entirety of the Middle East, and it's definitely going to be a big challenge for our F4 UAE drivers. Last year we had so many fantastic battles on our visits to the circuit. Now we're going to get to do it all over again, and with 3 races ahead of us, it's set to be a very exciting encounter. So let's have a look at what we can expect from race 1. Racing at the Dubai Autodrome usually provides as many dramas as it does overtakes, so we could be in for a thrilling weekend for the third round of F4 UAE 2024. Here's how things stack up heading into the contest. The rapid rise of the Mumbai Falcons in F4 continues in earnest, as Freddie Slater holds a decent advantage, and both Kian Nakamura-Berta and Alex Powell have proven they have what it takes to catch him. For Dion Gouda, we'll finally be able to see his true mettle after recovering from an early illness. The Yazheed Academy come off the back of their strongest weekend in the championship after 2 wins for Keanu Al-Azari back-to-back in Abu Dhabi. Also, it's worth remembering that Zach Scholar has made an instant impression in his car racing debut, so there are 2 bright stars herein. Prema Racing continued to shine in F4, but it was mixed fortunes in all 3 races a fortnight ago for Rashid Al-Daheri the Emirati and French starlet Dorian Pin. Both have shown that they can win races and have the speed to play for silverware. If qualifying goes well, wins will not be a big shock. The British quartet at High-Tech Pulse 8 continue to banter, badinage and battle, not just with their opponents but with each other. Gabriel Stilp, Deegan Fairclough, Reza Sawerthan and Sebastian Murray are rarely seen apart in the paddock, and it's strength in numbers that keep them in contention. In F4, it hasn't been a bed of roses so far for PHM AIX, and Nikita Bedrin hasn't quite made the impact he'd have hoped for, despite a win in the opening weekend. But the team has more than enough resource and sagacity to return to the top spot, with Everett Stack, Max Popov and Kamal Murad all chasing their first win. The Santaloc team have been frustrated by disappointment. Matteo Quintarelli and Yvan David could and should have double their current tallies, and Max Restrepo will want more from round 3. But now they're joined by RHGP refugee Jules Caranta. Expect more terrific racecraft on the horizon. One of the teams of the year has to be AGI Sport, who have made excellent progress on their competitive debuts. The squad is depleted for round 3 as 2 drivers have returned home, but Jack Beaton and Nicola Stati are determined to keep putting the Aussies on the scoreboard as often as possible. There have been tough times for RHGP at the start of the year, but alongside Lucas Amalisto, Enzo Ye and Rafael Narak, now emerges Red Bull's young Frenchman, Enzo de Ligny. He's already been talking up the chances of podiums, so expect the Red Bull colours to launch RHGP up the table. Musical Chairs is XL Motorsport's favourite game these days, with the team shuffling its deck again. Alvis Rodella and Thiago Rodriguez are once again joined by Chu Yanpu of China, who arguably didn't really show his true potential last time out. His charge through the pack did give us a subtle hint though. Pinnacle managed to bank some points last time out with Kai Dadianani, but there could have been a lot more had misfortune not spoiled their fun. But the pace is there and that's what counts, so there's a chance that both he and teammate Fuyu Hao can elevate the team even higher with a good performance. Whilst Formula 1 hasn't allowed an 11th team on the grid, F4 UAE has, with XGP making their debut this weekend. Liu Kaishun moves across from sister outfit XL, with UAE-based Luxembourger Chester Kiefer making his debut. Both drivers can have it tough to mix it at the front, but never say never. So many new faces in the F4 UAE Championship this year, and in the rookie battle there is one driver who's definitely making waves, and that is Prema driver Dorian Pin. Dorian, good to see you here. How have things been going so far?
Well, so far so good. I mean, Abu Dhabi was 2 good racing weekend. We improved a lot, and I think I've learned a lot also because I was driving in endurance. I'm still driving in endurance, but it's completely different single-seater racing, and I enjoy very much the races, and yeah, it's good battles. Everything is close. All the lap times and all the drivers are very close. So it's super interesting, and yeah, Abu Dhabi we secure P5 in race 1 second weekend, always in top 6 or top 8. So we're in the fighting with the best ones. So it's positive, and we miss a little something to reach the top, but I'm working hard to reach this level soon. Yeah.
So coming from the world of sports car racing into single-seaters, it's such a big difference. The very unusual transition to go from, you know, prototypes to the F4 car. Just how big a difference is it in terms of driving style and how you're having to relearn the car?
Well, in endurance, it's all about management. I mean, there is performance in qualifying, but the races is management of the tires, management of fuel, strategy, traffic. It's a lot of different things in the same time, managing in the same time. And in single seater is performance, like pure performance. Yeah, prototype, it's you have a bit more downforce and power, but in single seater it's lighter, so yeah, it's different driving style. Also, braking shape, braking efficiency is not the same. Everything is different. I mean, you have to be really smooth in single seater. In GT, you have to be a bit more aggressive. In prototype, is more between both, you know. So yeah, it's two different things, but it's two different categories that I like to, yeah.
Now this circuit, Dubai Autodrome, is very, very different in style and nature compared to the Yas Marina circuit. What is it like to adapt from one to the other?
Well, I don't know Dubai, so I just learned the track right now in FP1. Yeah, it's very different than Yas Marina. I would say it's faster here, but it's quite technical as well. You have a lot of combine and banking as well. So yeah, it's really different. I would say it's also very bumpy, so the feelings are different than Yas Marina. But yeah, it's quite interesting to race in different tracks and continue to work and do the process. Yeah.
Now your fans are going to be excited to learn that not only are you going to be racing in F1 Academy this year, but you'll be part of the Mercedes Junior program. We just learned obviously that there's a seat free going. I mean, you must be quite excited about that prospect.
Well, yeah, it's quite exciting. I mean, 2025 must be a bit early in F1, but yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to start this journey with Mercedes. I think it's a huge opportunity, and yeah, we are really happy, and I'm super excited to join Mercedes Iron Dames, and yeah, I'm sure, and I will try to do my best to reach come all together. Yeah.
Well, we're really excited to see you carry on the journey, Dorian, and we wish you all the best for this weekend and the rest of the season. Good luck.
Thank you.
2 weeks seems like a bit of a lifetime ago, but we are now getting ourselves ready for round 3 of the F4 UAE Championship 2024, certified by the FIA. It is very exciting to be with you once again. We have moved from the Abu Dhabi circuit to the Dubai Autodrome, and it is of course in 2024 that the circuit is celebrating 20 years of motorsport. Very exciting indeed, of course. They managed to open the circuit in October of 2004, and it is wonderful to continue in this magnificent motor racing season. It's going to be a busy day at the office here with a lot of motorsport to come, and certainly here in F4 UAE, it is going to be a fabulous battle that kicks us off in great style. Jake Sanson with you in the commentary box, overlooking the start-finish line, and it is already getting to be a very busy starting grid for the competitors out there making their way to the grid. What can we tell you? There's a few shuffles of the deck, there's a few bits of news that's worth picking up on, so we'll talk you through. We've obviously talked a little bit in the opening sequence about the driver changes. There's been a couple of shuffles of the deck. XL Motorsport basically has a sister team for this particular round and for the rest of the season, we think, and it's going to be the young man from Hong Kong, Liu Kuxin, who moves across to that team and is joined by the Luxembourger, who is based here in the United Arab Emirates, Chester Kiefer. There's no change at the likes of Yas Heat Racing Academy or at High-Tech Pulse 8. It's going to be interesting to see how they continue on. There is a bit of a shuffle of the deck at the RHGP racing squad. Enzo Deligny now moves into the team. It shows here on my timing page that he's racing under a Spanish license, but he is, of course, French. So Enzo Deligny for the Red Bull team, Red Bull Junior team, I should say, coming into Race GP for this round and hopefully for the rest of the season as well. That meant that poor Gilles Caranta and his 2-race deal at the RSGP squad had to come to an end because there was no more room at the team. Hearing this, Santalok Racing got in touch with Gilles Caranta and family and said, well, we've got a space on the grid if you want it. we saw how strong you were in the first 2 rounds at Yas Marina. Would you like to finish the season with us? Yes, please, was the very quick answer. So Jules Caranta has now moved across from the Race GP team to Santaloc Racing, replacing the outgoing Aurelia Nobels, who has returned to Europe to prepare for her upcoming race campaign. And of course, Jules Caranta now joins Maxi Restrepo of Colombia, who is masterminded by the 2-time Indy 500 winner and Monaco Grand Prix star Juan Pablo Montoya. Yavan David and Matteo Quintarelli are the teammates as well from Sri Lanka and here in the United Arab Emirates as well. No change at Mumbai Falcons. All 4 drivers are still incumbent and present. Freddie Slater, Kia Nakamura-Berta, Dion Gauda and Alex Powell. No change at Pinnacle either, so Kai Dorianani and Fuyu Hao are still the drivers within the team. And there's a couple of shuffles of the deck around. We no longer have either Carrie Schreiner or Peter Buzanelos at the Australian AGI Sport team. They have both returned back to their respective race programs. We wish Carrie Schreiner all the best in the F1 Academy this year as she represents the Sauber race team. But there's still some fantastic battles for all of the contenders. It is going to be a really exciting challenge in front of us now. What can we tell you about the story so far? Well, it's been an interesting one for the first 6 races of the year. On his car racing debut, Kia Nakamura-Berta burst out of the blocks in race 1 at Yas Marina and took a fabulous victory in front of Keanu Al-Azari, who started pole and finished up second ahead of Freddie Slater, with Alex Powell and Rashid Al-Daheri grabbing top 5 finishes. Very good work indeed from those guys. Then into the second race, which was a reverse grid battle. The top 12 drivers get reversed in the starting grid in F4 UAE based on how many drivers we've got in the field. When it's more than 30, then the top 12 are reversed. If it's less than 30, then the top 10 are reversed. So because we've got 33 cars on the grid, once again, it is going to be the top 12 that will finish this race, that will then be reversed, ready for the race 2 grid later on today. That meant that Nikita Bedrin was able to come through for a fabulous victory in race 2 at Yas Marina round 1 ahead of Deegan Fairclough, and then Jack Beaton, the Australian, who had grabbed himself the pole position, not quite able to hang on for the victory, but certainly there or thereabouts in the sharp end of the dais. And then we had in the third race a return to form for Freddie Slater. He was able to charge his way forward and put on a fabulous show ahead of Keanu Al-Azari and Rashid Al-Daheri, the 2 young men who live here in the United Arab Emirates. Keanu Al-Azari is the home favourite here at Dubai Autodrome. He actually raced here last week in the 24 hours. The youngest man on the grid, I do believe, managing to do so. And at various points in the race, he was actually the fastest of the Porsche drivers in that category. Not bad as a debutant, and coping with everything that was thrown at him very well indeed. His stablemate in the Yas Heat Academy, Zach Scholar, has actually done a fantastic job so far over the course of the season, and he finds himself right up at the sharp end of the dais in qualifying here. He hasn't finished outside the top 10 since race 3 of round 1, so he's doing a fantastic job. And to keep the United Arab Emirates colours very strong at the front end of the race field, we've got 3 brilliant drivers to do that in their own team. The Yas Heat colours of Keanu Al-Azari, Rashid Al-Daheri and Zach Scholar. There are a few other drivers who carry the United Arab Emirates flag, although of course they are not born here, they live here, and they continue their race program here in various other guises, but we'll talk about that later. Yas Marina's second round of the championship, which was 2 weeks ago, and it featured 2 sunset to night races. Freddie Slater taking the victory in the first of those in front of Alex Powell, the young man from Miami in Florida, and then Nikita Bedrin grabbing another podium finish ahead of Rashid Al-Daheri and Dorian Pin, who has got her first top 5 finish of the season in that race. Then the reverse grid race. Well, Keanu Al-Azari and Kia Nakamura-Berta had an incident in race 1, and that dropped them down the order, but they managed to recover back into the top 12, and that put Nakamura-Berta on pole and Keanu Al-Azari in third. It was the latter that managed to get the good run, and Al-Azari went to victory ahead of Nakamura-Berta and Freddie Slater, with Rashid Al-Daheri and Nikita Bedrin in the top 5 once again. Then in race 3, it was Keanu Al-Azari all the way. He managed to get back-to-back victories, just as Freddie Slater had managed across 2 consecutive weekends. Well, Al-Azari did the double across race 2 and race 3 last time out. Second for Freddie Slater, and he leads the championship on 110 points. Third in that race was Kia Nakamura-Berta, and he is third in the championship behind Keanu Al-Azari to the deficit of 15 points. Fourth in that race was Deegan Fairclough in front of Gabriel Stilp, so the 2 British drivers for High Tech Pulsate. Definitely ones to watch as the season continues to progress. As we come into this race, Freddie Slater is leading the championship, as I mentioned, on 110 points. Keanu Al-Azari has 87, Nakamura-Berta has 72, Nikita Bedrin has 64, and then Rashid Al-Daheri has 49. And as a result of all of that, it's going to be a fascinating battle in terms of the competition we're going to see out on the circuit now. as the drivers are now gearing themselves up ready. You can see that the grid is clearing, and so we are in position and getting ourselves ready for the start of action. Great to hear from all those of you on the live chat. If you happen to be watching us on the YouTube stream, you can give us some interesting chatter. I'll try and keep in touch with it whenever there is an opportunity. So it'll be an exciting opportunity out there to see how everybody is faring for things. There's a lot of interesting things to talk about. One of the things we will mention, of course, is qualifying, because at the front end of the field, it's obviously been a very exciting battle so far for all of the contenders out there. Nikita Bedrin grabbing the fastest time in qualifying 1, 2 minutes 1.178, only 55 thousandths of a second quicker than Kian Nakamura Berta. There they are. To the right of your screen is Nikita Bedrin for PHM AIX, and to the left of your screen is Kian Nakamura Berta for the Mumbai Falcons. Behind them, Freddie Slater starting third on the grid, alongside Rashid Al-Daheri for the Prema Racing team, lining up fourth on the grid, and definitely the best chance in this particular race for the United Arab Emirates to go onto the top step of the podium. Dion Gauda lines up in 5th position. Great to see him back to his normal form. He was very unwell during the first 2 races of the season, first 2 rounds of the championship, I should say. But he's had a week off. He's had 10 days to go away and get himself recharged and re-energized, and he is back to his normal form. So he's right up there in the top 6, where he deserves to be. The second fastest rookie is Zach Scholar, who's done a fantastic job in qualifying 1. The Yazheat driver finds himself in 6th position on the starting grid. So it's going to be a really interesting situation for all of the contenders, but Zach Scholar has in particular put himself to be in a sensational situation, and we're going to really get to see what he can do as things continue to battle forward. So 7th on the grid is going to be Deegan Fairclough, the British driver for High-Tech Pulse 8, and then it's going to be Matteo Quintarelli in 8th position on the grid for the Santaloc Racing team. 9th on the grid is Keanu Al-Azari. Very difficult qualifying session for him, so that's going to be a very tricky one for him to try and bounce back from, but he knows the circuit very well. He's grown up around here, so he does have the opportunity to make that work in his favour. And in 10th position on the grid, very exciting indeed to see Thiago Rodriguez getting himself into the top 10 of the grid for the Excel Motorsport team. The young man from Macau, who is the reigning champion in Chinese F4, has done a sensational job to put himself into the top 10. A really difficult problem in qualifying for Alex Powell. He had a mechanical problem in free practice, which then returned in qualifying 1 this morning, which meant he didn't get a single decent qualifying lap in at all, and he has to start this race from the back of the grid. Very unfortunate indeed for the young man from Miami in Florida, so he has to do a lot of hard work over the course of these first 2 races in particular, as he'll be hoping that he can work his way further forward. It is a very difficult start to his race meeting, and hopefully he can just try and make as much progress as physically possible, but it is definitely going to be very, very difficult. Jack Monaghan making a fallen in the water reference. He making a Goon Show reference. Good for you, my friend. Kian Nakamura Berta's name could be said in that style. I might try that a bit later on when we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's talk through the grid in one fell swoop, shall we? Nikita Bedrin and Kian Nakamura Berta on the front row of the starting grid. Freddie Slater and Rashid Al-Daheri, along with Dion Gauda and Zach Scholar. Deegan Fairclough and Matteo Quintarelli from Keanu Al-Azari and Thiago Rodriguez. Then Jack Beaton and Enzo Deligny, Dorian Pin and Alves Rodella. Then Lucas Amalisto doing a very good job, and Gabriel Stilp. And then we have Chu Yan Pu alongside Enzo Ye. Max Popov is beside Rafael Narak, and then Sebastian Murray is beside Jules Caranta. Kamal Murad alongside Chester Kiefer making his debut in the championship. Nicolas Stati lines up alongside Reza Sawerthan, and then Yevan David alongside Luca Shun, Maxi Restrepo, Kai Darianani, Everett Stack, Fuyu Hao, and then right at the back of the grid, very unfortunately indeed, it is Alex Powell who is going to be trying to fight his way forward. Very difficult indeed. So let's see how it continues, and we'll have to see if the competitors can do a good job. Rory has mentioned on YouTube that if Taylor Barnard can go from 35th to 2nd in Formula Regional last year on this circuit, then Powell can do it in F4. Well, it's definitely wishful thinking. He's definitely got 28 minutes plus the 1 lap to try and make it happen. It won't be easy, that is for sure, and the competitors are definitely going to be stretching themselves to try and get the best out of this particular situation they are presented with. Not going to be particularly easy to see how our competition is going to continue to develop. But certainly here in the 7th race of the championship, they really are zipping along loud. Nikita Bedrin has a great chance from the front row of the grid. Fascinating to see that Nikita Bedrin has actually dropped down from Formula 3 all the way to F4 for this one. So you would have thought that if you're going to make a drop, you'll only take one drop, but he's actually dropped twice to go even further down than Formula Regional to into F4. He has won a race so far this year, the reverse grid race in race 2 of round 1, so he is already a winner in 2024. But he would dearly love to add another victory to his tally. So let's see how that all goes. It could be really interesting to see how things continue to progress. But who is going to have the best chance of the victory in this one? Dorian can do good things here from pole position. He has got the tenacity to hold the drivers at bay. Nakamura Roberto has already shown how lightning out of the box he can be. So it's definitely one to watch out for. Freddie Slater, ever the consistent, has not yet finished a race in 2024 outside the top 4. So that is very impressive, and that's why he has 110 points. Keanu Al-Azari's got a lot of work to make up, to be fair to him, from 9th on the grid, but he's definitely one of the kind of drivers that could make sure it happens. So it could be a fascinating scenario for him. But we have to try and figure out what's going to happen. We have to try and see who's going to make the best of it. And there's a lot of drivers slightly out of position. Watch for Enzo Deligny as well in 12th on the grid, making his debut in the championship in F4 UAE in the Red Bull colours. He'll be an interesting one to watch for Race GP. And also watch out for Dorian Pin, starting 13th on the grid. She has a great chance to fight her way forward. The drivers are in position, as you can see. We'll wait for the green flag at the back of the 33-car grid. There it is. It waves and the lights will come on. And when they go out, we'll be racing for the first of 3 here at the Dubai Autodrome, the 3rd round of the 2024 F4 UAE Championship. Lights come on. When they go out, we'll be racing. Let's go racing, and it's a fantastic start. A bit of a jump, potentially, for one of the PHM AAX cars. One of the XL cars has been left on the grid. A spin in the middle of the pack. It's Rashid Al Dahiri. There's been contact. Slow-moving car in the middle, and Al Dahiri's already out of it. I cannot believe his luck. Rashid Al Dahiri has gone straight into the wall on the pit straight. Slow-moving car, and that is the Emirati out of the first race of the weekend. Absolutely disastrous. He's had contact with one of the Santa locks by the look of it, as into the lead goes Dorian. No problem at all for him to get away from the 3 Mumbai Falcons, and up to 5th comes Zach Scholar. And there is Enzo Deligny in behind Dorian Pin. Several drivers having to take avoiding action on the opening lap then, but absolutely catastrophic for Rashid Al Dahiri. Big disaster for him. He's already had one DNF. There goes somebody's front wing. It's Deligny. Deligny in the Red Bull colours of the Race GP team has already lost his front wing. That is a terrible start to his F4 UAE campaign. So he's already out of this one, and we've got 2 cars stranded on the main straight. Surely that means we're going to get a safety car. And it's a big disaster for Kramer and for Rashid Al Dahiri, as up the inside, that is the AGI Sport working his way through. That's got to be Jack Beaton, having taken avoiding action on the opening lap. He now makes the move on the inside of Keanu Al-Azari. Good work from Beaton. There are the 2 stranded cars. Now trying to make out which of the Santa locks that is. It's very hard to tell from this particular position. I think it's the 93. It's Matteo Quintarelli. So it is Quintarelli that is out of the car. So very unfortunate indeed. More bad luck for Quintarelli as the safety car boards have come out. So we are under safety car. No surprises at all there. Very unfortunate indeed for Rashid Al Dahiri and for Matteo Quintarelli, 2 drivers who live here in the United Arab Emirates. And there goes Quintarelli climbing over the pit wall. The safety car has already picked them up. And there is bitter, bitter disappointment for Rashid Al Dahiri. He can't believe his luck. He's already had a bit of a nightmare in round 2 of the championship, and now round 3 begins in the worst possible fashion. So they're going to go through the pit lane, obviously, because there's a lot of debris on the main straight. Full credit to everybody else, by the way, managing to get out of harm's way on the main straight. But all sorts of drama, all triggered by a couple of drivers either jump starting or not starting at all. So I think it was Quintarelli that didn't move off the grid, or certainly moved fairly slowly, although actually that doesn't really tally, because Rashid Al Dahiri was ahead of Matteo Quintarelli by 4 places. So we're definitely going to need to see a replay of the start to figure out how that all happened. But a very bizarre situation then. It's not very often that you see as crazy a start on the main straight. So it could be a very interesting situation there, but what a disaster for Rashid Al Dahiri and Matteo Quintarelli. They are very difficult there. So it's going to be a tough one, but we'll have to see how it all continues from that point on. So the rescue teams are on the field already. 2 cars to move. They're pretty quick around here at the Dubai Autodrome, to be fair, so I don't think we'll be behind the safety car for too long. Don't forget, we're only just going into lap 2 now. I would probably estimate that this is going to last until the end of lap 3. We're on lap 2 at the moment, so I don't think we're going to have any more than about 2 cars in jump start position. So a very tricky scenario there as the marshals are attending the scene. So Jack Monaghan has pointed out that perhaps Enzo Deligny may have got caught up in the collision. That's possibly a fair assessment. There was a lot of flotsam and jetsam on the straight for that one. Now, out of the pits, after everybody else, comes one of the race GP cars. So maybe a bit of a difficulty there for one of the contenders. Trying to see, did Lucas Samalisto take the start initially? I'm not sure he did, so he's actually joined the field a lap later. Now, he did have damage to his car after qualifying. Now, there's what we think is a jump start. Thiago Rodriguez, I think it is, that doesn't move. There's the contact. Rashid Al Daheri's got a problem with the car. That's the reason for the contact. So Rashid Al Daheri had a problem off the line and the car just didn't move. And Matteo Quintarelli couldn't respond properly. So, fascinating situation, but I'm afraid it's all come a cropper for Rashid Al Daheri. It's a very difficult situation, and I think Deegan Fairclough had to take avoiding action as well. So he ended up having to get out of the throttle. Were there more problems further round that we didn't see? Well, yes, a couple of drivers had to take avoiding action further back. Big damage for Fairclough. So Fairclough lost his front wing. That's where the problems came from for Deegan Fairclough. So essentially he didn't have a front wing as a result of the contact. So that's where we had the problems. So it looks to me as though Rashid Al Daheri essentially just didn't have any power coming off the start. He initially gets a reasonably good getaway, and then he just has no drive, no power in the car whatsoever. And as a result of that, he gets hit by Deegan Fairclough initially. So Fairclough goes into Rashid Al Daheri to start with, and then Matteo Quintarelli just gets caught up, nowhere to go, unfortunately. And so it's a retirement for both Quintarelli and Rashid Al Daheri, and Deegan Fairclough is limping back to the pits with damaged front wings. So all sorts of drama in that first, but it just looked to me as though Rashid Al Daheri had a car problem off the line. Deegan Fairclough went into the back of him, and Quintarelli had nowhere to go, so very unfortunate indeed. I can tell you that already Quintarelli's car has been recovered and is on the back of the low loader. It's not going to be too long before Rashid Al Daheri's is as well. So, yeah, very dramatic indeed. I think the jump start may have come from one of the BHM AIX cars. I'm not going to confirm it, but it looks to me as though it might have been Max Popov, because it came from that side of the grid. It came from the right side of the grid. So maybe Max Popov just got a little bit too trigger happy on the throttle and just had to commit to the start. So I'm afraid that mechanical problems there on the starting grid for Rashid Al Daheri, triggering a pile-up. Looks like everybody's okay, but it certainly puts 3 drivers out of kilter, 2 of them out of the race immediately, and 1 of them with damage. So Deegan Fairclough now drops to the back of the field. So what does that do now in terms of the race order? So Nikita Bedrin leads, Kian Nakamura-Berta in second place in front of Dion Gauda, who got a terrific start in front of Freddie Slater. So Gauda's through into 3rd position. That could be his first podium of the season. Zach Scholar in a great 5th place. He reacted very well to the drama. 6th position is Jack Beaton, the Australian. 7th is Keanu Alazari. 8th is Thiago Rodriguez, the Macanese driver. And then 9th is Dorian Pin. She reacted well ahead of Alvis Rodella. So Alvis Rodella now in P10. In 11th position is Gabriel Stilp. Enzo Deligny has had to come into the pits to repair his car, and there's Deegan Fairclough having stopped his car as well. So I'm not sure if Deligny has actually stopped his car in the garage and actually repaired it, or if he's carried on. Can't see his car in pit road. Deegan Fairclough, I think they've just repaired it and sent him back out again, so he'll be at the back. Max Popov in 13th, although I'm fairly sure he's going to be under investigation for a jump start. Enzo Ye is in 14th in front of Yvan David as we look at Rashid Al Daheri's car being collected and recovered. Kamal Murad is in 16th place in front of Sebastian Murray. Then Rafael Narak ahead of Jules Caranta. Chester Kiefer is P20 in front of Reza Sawudan. And then Alex Powell is up to 22nd already. He made a terrific launch and has already worked his way through a 3rd of the field. Liu Kaixun is in 23rd. Nicolas Stati in 24th. Maxi Restrepo, Everett Stack, Fu Yuhao. Chu Yan Pu getting a terrible start, unfortunately. 28th position for the Chinese driver. And then Kai Daryanani is in 29th place. place. Now, I'm not sure if Deegan Fairclough is the car that's at the back of the queue now. He was certainly in the pits, having had his car repaired at the front end, but has he carried on or not, I don't know. And has Enzo Deligny rejoined after making a trip into pit lane as well? I'm not sure either. Lucas Samalisto, I think, is circulating, but he's a lap down because he missed the start. They had mechanical problems with his car after he had a shunt in qualifying this morning. He put it on 15th on the grid and then had an accident which unfortunately stopped the session. So big dramas all the way round the course. Now, the safety car is only at the halfway point of the circuit, so I would guess, looking at how quickly they've recovered the cars, there is Rashid Al-Daheri's car now being brought into the pit lane, and it looks to me as though Deegan Fairclough may have got out of the car, so too much damage, obviously, to the front nose of his machine. Are they going to have to go around one more time? I think they are, actually, because we've gone further around the course than I originally thought we had. So they are going to need to go around one more time. The circuit's not quite clear on the main straight, so we're going to go into lap 4. Very rare type of incident, this one. So we are continuing in a fantastic situation there for the race leader, Nikita Bedrin. This is exactly what he needs to be in the lead of the race with not too much work and exertion on his tyres. So it could be a really exciting situation for the restart. I have a feeling Dion Gauda's going to want to prove a point here from third on the grid, in behind Kia Nakamura-Berta. They could have a really exciting duel out on the circuit now. It's a long old circuit, this one. 3 minutes 40 seconds for the lap, as pointed out by Mr. Rovny. That's the problem with such a long circuit. Is under safety car, it does deplete into the race distance quite considerably. So it is a tricky situation for our competitors out there, but obviously they want to make sure that they're in a comfortable and strong position. But it's definitely not the easiest of situations for our competitors to find themselves in. So the drivers are still having a very interesting second half of the race to come. Don't forget, we have 28 minutes plus the additional lap. So there's still a fair chunk of it to go, although we're already at the half distance mark, 13 minutes to go. Just tells you how long it takes to get around the course here. That's what I've got in front of me anyway. So hopefully all should be well. But it could be a fascinating turn of events. If Dion Gauda gets a particularly strong run, we're going to get to see if he can push for the victory in front of Kia Nakamura-Berta. Freddie Slater just needs to stay pretty here in fourth position, as far as he's concerned for the championship fight. You know, not finishing a race lower than 4th position, and he's in 4th position at the moment. He's got Zach Scholar right in behind him. So that could be particularly entertaining as the field continues to work its way forward. Nikita Bedrin is backing them up. Does that mean we're going to have safety car lights out? Indeed we are. So the safety car lights are out. They're in at the end of this lap, so we are going to go racing again. So this is going to be an important one to get right. Nikita Bedrin backing up the pack, hoping for a charge forward now. Look how tight they're having it. Bedrin really wants to catch out Nakamura-Berta on this restart. He's gone for broke. Here we go. So he's floored the throttle. He's backed them up enough. But he's gone quite early, I would say. So Nikita Bedrin obviously feeling that he can make good use of this. Dion Gauda's not had the best of restarts, so Slater's going to be right on him on the way to the first corner. But look how early they've gone. They've gone through the hairpin, through the right-hander, and then through the final turn. Bedrin's hoping he's got this right. Nakamura-Berta's going to go with him, though. So this isn't the best of restarts for Bedrin. Nakamura-Berta has a chance on this first lap, but Dion Gauda trying to stretch away from Slater and Scholar as we go green, 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 and we're racing once again here at the Dubai Autodrome. Bedrin trying to break the toe of Nakamura-Berta early doors as Jack Beaton sizes up the opportunity. Here comes Zach Scholar. He's going to try and take on Freddie Slater outside through turn 1. Brilliant move from Scholar. He's done Freddie Slater. Excellent work from Zach Scholar. That took a lot of bravery, and he's absolutely mastered it. That is a fantastic move from Scholar. Round the outside in turn 1, bags of confidence, get up and go, and he's made it work. Now he locks up. He's got to be careful. Don't lose the back end, Zach. Keep it nice and tidy on the exit. And Freddie Slater's not quite able to make the move back on him. That was well collected, Zach. Well tidied up. So now they're going to go onto the back straight for the first time, and already there's a bit of a hunt from Keanu Elazari onto the back of the Australian Jack Beaton, so they continue to charge their way forward. And as they head down the straight, it's Bedrin, Nakamura-Berta, Gauda, Slater, now behind Scholar. So Scholar doing a fair job here in fourth position, but can he hold on to it? Here comes Chiara Al-Azari, making his bid on the inside of Jack Beaton, diving down the inside line, and that's good enough. Al-Azari makes the bid, so does Slater on Scholar. Scholar's got to try and hold it, but he's squeezed wide. Slater holds the move, and Scholar back on the inside of Slater. Now Slater's going to come back at him on the exit. They're going to be side by side once again, and Slater shuts the door in his face. Nicely handled by Slater. Scholar will try once again, trying to drive right round the outside of Freddie Slater. Now Al-Azari's going to try and cut across on Jack Beaton as they do the duel for fourth position. Brilliant racecraft. Slater's held on here in front of Scholar. Scholar's not given up. He's still got good pace. He's got a car underneath him that he can be comfortable with, and now he's going to go long on the far side. Cuts back through again. And it's a pretty tricky situation here for all of the contenders as we continue to battle the way forward. But it is a tricky situation for all of the contenders. It will still be close on this outlap. Now, we've got Thiago Rodriguez there stepping up the attack. This is really good work from the Macanese driver as across the line, it's Bedrin, Nakamura Berta, Gouda, Slater, Scholar, Beaton. Now dropped behind Rodriguez. So the Beaton is now trying to shake off Dorian Pin. Here comes Dorian Pin to the first corner. Beaton holds and protects the inside line. Watch for a hungry Alves Rodella in P10 as well. Dorian Pin is going to absolutely master this if she can hold it. Jack Beaton trying desperately to defend, but Dorian Pin's got good movement and momentum. She can't go for it. She has to back out of the throttle. So Chiara Al-Azari now chasing down teammate Zach Scholar. They're in 5th and 6th positions. Up to 7th has come Thiago Rodriguez. And that's a big dive from one of the high-techs. That looks to me like Gabriel Stilp attacking Alves Rodella. Rodella gets plenty of curve. This could be enough for Stilp to size it up the inside. Has a look at it. We need to look in the background. Is Stilp going to get the move done? No, he has to bail out. So Stilp is there in front of Enzo Ye and Yavan David, who again is charging forward. Yavan David up to 13th, the man from Sri Lanka. Doing a sensational job so far, making a good recovery drive. Then it's Rafael on the rack in 14th position. Here's the dive up the inside still. He's going to commit to the inside of Alves Rodella. Can he make it work? Rodella holds it on the curb. Stilp's going to go slow in, but fast out. This could work out for Stilp as the back end comes out big time for Alves Rodella. Watch for Stilp on the far side. And Enzo Ye having a look for an opportunity to get past both of them. Not going to happen. Stilp attacks Alves Rodella once again. And in the background, whoa, a bit of wheel rubbing between Rafael on the rack and I think Kamal Murad. So very close indeed between those two. Stilp is going to go long here, trying to drive right round the outside of Alves Rodella, and he's done it! Oh, what a move from Stilp! He still commits to it on the inside line. Rodella's still there to his left. Squeezes him. Now he's going to come back on right in front of Gabriel Stilp. Stilp's getting annoyed now. So Stilp has to hang back in behind Alves Rodella. And still they continue the charge forward across the line. 11.5 minutes still to go. My timing screen was playing silly games earlier on. Here comes the move now as Al-Azari's got past Scholar, and now it looks as though Thiago Rodriguez is trying to repeat the move. Nakamura Berta, meanwhile, attacking Nikita Bedrin in the lead of this race. So Bedrin still leads. Nakamura Berta second, Gouda in third. The fastest lap of the race has come from Freddie Slater in fourth place. Still some terrific duels in the lower positions as well. Enzo Dellini has managed to recover after his earlier visit to the pit lane and finds himself in 18th, battling with Alex Powell and Gilles Caranta. That means that Alex Powell is up to 16th place. The young man from Miami is absolutely tearing through the field. If he makes up 4 more places, he could end up on reverse grid pole for race 2. That could salvage something from his weekend. Meanwhile, Dorian Pin is having a terrific duel with Alves Rodella down the back straight. No, in fact, that's not Rodella, that is Thiago Rodriguez. So Dorian Pin working very hard indeed to try and get into 8th position. Look at Thiago Rodriguez's defensive tactics. Pin has to back out of it. Rodriguez locks up. Stilp is going to hold it now in front of Rodella and Ye. Nice work. Gabriel Stilp manages to hold the position then, having got past Alves Rodella. Still they duel. Stilp, Rodella, Ye. Watch for Yavan David. He's worked his way now past Rafael on the rack. They're going to go side by side to the corner. And And Yvan David is going to tuck in nicely here behind Enzo Ye. Will there be enough room for Rafael Narak? He goes wide, and that's enough for Yvan David to finish the move, as meanwhile Kamal Murad is battling away with Alex Powell. So this is the battle for reverse grid pole, don't forget. Yvan David chops across on Rafael Narak, and that's enough to put Yvan David into 13th place. If he can get past Enzo Ye, he'll end up on the reverse grid pole. That's how important it is for the Sri Lankan to get one more position. There's Alex Powell, 16th position. He's got to make up 4 more if he wants reverse grid pole. 2 behind him is Enzo Deligny in the Red Bull colours. He wants to make a good impression too. Very tough stuff. So down the main straight, Jack Beaton still attacking Scholar. To the first corner, still duelling with Alves Rodella. Further back, we've got Kamal Murad going wheel to wheel here with the high-tech. And he's very close indeed for Reza Sawoothan. So can Reza Sawoothan get the move done? No, he can't. He has to hang back. And that is with Max Popov, my apologies. So they're still battling away, Max Popov and Reza Sawoothan. There is the man in front. That's Kamal Murad. So Enzo Deligny dueling away with him. And then Gilles Caranta and Chester Kiefer are in the mix. So a lot of good battles going on there. Fantastic stuff in F4 UAE all the way through this field. There's Liu Kai-shun, who is currently battling away with his teammate Chuyan Pu, or I should say his former teammate Liu Kai-shun, because they've actually moved to different teams. Here's Dorian Pin, needing again to commit to this move on Alves Rodella. Rodella locks up once more, but still holds the line. Yvan David going wheel to wheel there with Enzo Ye. That's enough for the moment to hold on to it. Oh, sorry, that's still Rafael Narak, isn't it? There's Enzo Ye in the Race GP car. But watch Alex Powell. Alex Powell now having a sizable look at Rafael Narak. Gonna dive up the inside, and Alex Powell makes the move on Rafael Narak. Nicely done. Narak has to go wide onto the curbs. He can't really come back from that. Alex Powell has 2 more cars to pass to get himself into reverse grid pole. He's up to 14. 2 more will see him on the reverse grid pole for race 2. He's still got to work hard. Still enough time to do it. Maybe no points are available in this one, but certainly a reverse grid pole is available for race 2. Here comes the battle from Gilles Caranta. He's now sizing up Kamal Murad. A few cars back from this. Enzo Deligny now looking at Rafael Narak. He wants to try and make his bid. The Frenchman, who battled in Spanish F4 last year, currently masterminded by the 2-time FIA karting world champion Lorenzo Travasanuto, who is here with him in Dubai, still chopping across on Alves Rodella, very nearly on the red runoff area rather than the actual racetrack on the way down to the first corner. But obviously they use a lot of it so they can get the fastest possible trajectory through the turns. Bedrin, in the lead of the race, is still only half a second ahead of Nakamura Berta, by the way. Great dueling in the middle of the pack. There's a big twitch there. Massive twitch comes through from the high-tech Pulsate in front of us. So you can see how tricky it is to hold the car on the racing line. That's Gabriel Stilt getting sideways. Look, Bedrin is really worried about Nakamura Berta now. He's desperately trying to shake the toe. Dion Gauda, great run from him this time. 3rd position. Great to see him where he belongs. Back at the front of a pack again. Nakamura Berta actually locks the brake, trying to deal with Nikita Bedrin on this occasion. No panic for Freddie Slater in 4th place. He has the fastest lap. You don't get a bonus point for that in F4 UAE, but he has yet to finish a race outside the top 4, and he's currently in 4th place. So it's not panic stations for Freddie Slater by any means at all. Down to the hairpin once again. Bedrin's done enough to deal with the Mumbai Falcon trio at the moment. So the PHM AIX driver really aggressive on the way through. You've got to be quite dictatorial on the brakes through that particular part of the course. You've really got to be very deliberate on the turn-in point. So it's really tricky as they continue on. This could be a fascinating move. Nakamura Berta on the back of Bedrin once again. He's not quite close enough to challenge for the move, but look at Bedrin swarming around. He really doesn't want Nakamura Berta to get even a sniff of the draft. He clearly feels that Nakamura Berta is going to be fast enough to challenge him for the win. 5th place is Al-Azhari, by the way, in behind Freddie Slater. Then a couple of, well, a few car legs back now, actually, from Zach Scholar who's ahead of Jack Beaton. 8th is Thiago Rodriguez. 9th is Dorian Pin. And then the battle for reverse grid pole. And up to 13th has come Alex Powell. One more car will put him on reverse grid pole. Stilp is still trying to shake off Rodella. There is Enzo Ye and Alex Powell in 13th. One more car for the young man from Miami, and he ends up 12th. That'll put him on pole for race 2. That's why this is such an intense battle. That's why it's absolutely fierce. There's Gilles Carranza in the Santalok, still acclimatising to his new team. He was with Race GP last time out. He's moved across to Santalok so he can finish the season. And currently tucked up behind the number 24. That's the Luxembourger Chester Keeper, who is based here in the United Arab Emirates. Alex Powell, one car from reverse grid pole. So many people in Kingston Town in Jamaica, in Miami in Florida, and across his European legion of fans will be willing him on. He only needs to overtake one car to bounce back this weekend. It may not be enough for race 1 to be particularly strong, but he could get the reverse grid pole for race 2. And look, this is a stalemate. Stilp and Rodella. Enzo Ye's being boxed in. He really, ideally, needs to get past one of these two to thwart the onslaught from Alex Powell. If he can't get reverse grid pole, then second, i.e. 11th in this race, might be the best he can hope for. Stilp locks up. That backs up Rodella. That backs up Ye. That backs up Powell. The more you back each other up, the more threat from behind you're going to receive. And Enzo Deligny is not far away now either in 14th place. Ivan David's not far away in 15th either. Still really having to go ultra defensive now. Here are the two Mumbai Falcons. And that's Freddie Slater in 4th, trying to close up on his teammate Dion Gowda. He's the only driver in the Mumbai Falcons team who can claim to have Indian heritage. But Nakamura Berta's got even closer to Nikita Bedrin. Give it one more lap and Nakamura Berta could go for this. He might even have a chance down the back straight. 5th place Salazari on his own. That'll be a boring race from his point of view. Scholar, Beaton, Rodriguez and Pan still dueling over 6th place. Dorian Pin has to think about it. But in the background, that's where the real battle is. Here we go. And up to the inside. Enzo Ye's going to drive around the outside of Alves. Rodella locks up. They're going to go side by side. And wide goes Enzo Ye. This could be the moment for Alex Powell. And he knows it. Keep the foot in. Ye actually commits to the move and gets past Alves Rodella. Now, surely there could be a conversation about whether he's gained an advantage off the racetrack. Enzo Ye locks up big time this time. Big slide from Rodella. And the door is open for Deligny to go for Alex Powell. Great racecraft. Is this going to be enough for an overtaking move, potentially? Rodella is sliding. The tyres have just dropped for him and the XL team. So there is Scholar, Beaton, Rodriguez and Pam. But look at the background. That is a really tricky XL car for Alves Rodella to hang on to. Here comes Alex Powell with Enzo Deligny in tow. Is Alex Powell going to get through in a 12th position and therefore bag reverse grid pole for race 2? Deligny having a think about it as well. Powell's got to commit on the brakes. Rodella is too. They're going to bang wheels if they're not careful. They're both going to drift wide. Powell will commit to the inside line. Rodella drifts out wide off the turn completely. And Enzo Deligny sweeps past both of them. Alex Powell now squeezes Rodella to the inside line. Rodella can come in. They've actually made contact with each other now. Here comes Ivan David. The Sri Lankan going for the bid. But Alex Powell, I swear there was a little bit of a nudge between him and Rodella. Looks like they've got away with it. But Rodella is keeping that car very wide indeed. Watch for Ivan David, the Sri Lankan. Could go the long way. Powell gets the undercut. Brilliant from Alex Powell. Deals with it masterfully. Ivan David gets boxed in now behind Rafael Narak. And here comes Kamal Murad, the Australian. Thinks he fancies his chances now. Excellent racing in F4 UAE. But as a result of all of that, up to 12th and reverse grid pole for race 2. Now comes the Frenchman Enzo Deligny on his debut. He could end up with a reverse grid pole. So Alex Powell now to 13th. Look at the defensive tactics. Kamal Murad just banzais on the inside of both men. As that's Chester Keeper trying to go wheel to wheel now with Ivan David. He makes the move, he gets it done. So Kamal Murad and Chester Keeper have both got past Ivan David. Now it's Gilles Carranza's turn to take on his teammate. And at the back of this little squabble, we've got Reza Suwerthan. So Reza Suwerthan in the high-tech fancying his chances as well now. So the young man from Bournemouth in the United Kingdom trying to get his move down on the inside line. Can Reza Suwerthan figure out an opportunity? Kamal Murad going a little bit wide, and there is Nicolas Starty, the Australian. So Gabriel still desperately trying to hang on to this 10th position and the final championship point. But behind him, we still have a very fired up Enzo Ye in 11th position. That'll be front row for race 2, don't forget. And in 12th now is Enzo Deligny. Right, here is Freddie Slater. In behind Dion Gauda still. Nakamura Berta still eager to try and take on Nikita Bedrin in the lead of the race. But it is looking pretty stalemate at the moment. And the time, I can tell you, has run down to 0. So with the time having run down to 0, we are now in a fascinating scenario. It's time to see who is going to get the job done as they come through the final bout of racing. They come into the final turn. Freddie Slater in behind Dion Gauda. And as they come onto the main straight this time by, last lap board is out. Here we go. So Kiya Nakamura Berta is running out of opportunities here to make this work in his favour. And I think Nikita Bedrin may just have enough here. So Nikita Bedrin looking perfectly comfortable in the lead of the race. Dion Gauda will still have pressure from Slater. Then Al-Azadi. Then beaten because, of course, well, Zach Scholar looks like he's got problems with the car. Looks like something's wrong. Dorian Pin now going wheel to wheel with Thiago Rodriguez. And she's got him! Brilliant run from Dorian Pin. She's waited all race to make that move, and it's as sweet as a dandy. Lovely job from Dorian Pin. That was mighty. It looks like there's damage to Thiago Rodriguez's car. That's why Pin was able to make the move so strongly there. I think Thiago Rodriguez has got damage to his front wing, and that might be why Zach Scholar has dropped back. I wonder if he's got damage. Did they come together? There's a damaged front wing for Rodriguez and a slowing Zach Scholar. So this could change everything. Scholar's pulling off, I can tell you. Scholar's actually pulled off the road. I think he's got a puncture. He's got a puncture to his right rear. So Scholar is going to drop out of this race. That is disastrous for him. So Zach Scholar is cruising home with a puncture. Oh, game over for Zach Scholar. Very unfortunate indeed for him. But Kiya Nakamura Berta just not able to get close enough to Nikita Bedrin. So contact between, we think, Thiago Rodriguez and Zach Scholar has ruined both of those races. Dion Gauda is going to come through for his first podium of the season in 3rd place, ahead of Freddie Slater. Try as he might, Kiya Nakamura Berta has not been able to take on Nikita Bedrin. Just hasn't worked out in his favour at all. So it's going to be Nikita Bedrin who comes through for his 2nd win of the 2024 campaign, this time from a pole position. The PHM AIX team really needed that in F4, and it's great to see them bounce back in style here at Dubai Autodrome. Nikita Bedrin takes the victory in race 1 here at Dubai Autodrome, gets the job done in front of Kiya Nakamura Berta, and fantastic style. 3rd place for Dion Gauda. He gets his first podium in F4 UAE. Consistency continues for Freddie Slater and Keanu Al-Azari. They get top 5 finishes. Jack Beaton, great drive from him in P6, and from Dorian Pin, fighting drive in 7th. 8th place comes Thiago Rodriguez ahead of Stilp in 9th. 10th is Ye, 11th is Powell, 12th is Deligny. So Enzo Deligny and Alex Powell will start race 2 from the front row of the grid. Fascinating performances from the drivers then in F4 UAE. Some smart thinking on the last lap from a couple of drivers. And particularly for Alex Powell, he's able to charge from the back to 11th. He misses the points by 1 position, but crucially, he gets a front row starting grid position for race number 2. As out of the final turn, Zach Scholar is going to drift over the final course. There is Zach Scholar. Bitter disappointment for Zach Scholar. Well, he's had a brilliant drive and it's all come to nothing, I'm afraid. So Zach Scholar creeps home and punctured to the car. So all his fine efforts in this first race, he was as high as 5th at one point, have all come to nothing. Bitter disappointment for Zach Scholar. He finishes the race, albeit down in 29th. The only 2 cars, well, the only other car that was behind him in the end was Sebastian Murray, who had an issue earlier in the race as well. Retirements, of course, Matteo Quintarelli, Rashid Al-Daheri and Deegan Fairclough at the first part of the race as they all came together on the start. But this man, Nikita Bedrin, is your race winner. Did a fabulous job and is able to run in fine fluidity at the front of the field. Kiya Nakamura Berta unable to deal with him on this occasion. And so the battles continue to be joined. But for the second time this year, Nikita Bedrin is a race winner. Now matches Keanu Al-Azari for race wins. And ironically enough, he also matches Freddie Slater for race victories because they both have, they all have 2 wins apiece. Nakamura Berta has 1. But now we've got a very interesting front row of the grid for the reverse grid. Pole position is going to go to Enzo Deligny, the Red Bull youngster, alongside Alex Powell. So that is going to be a fascinating second race later. But Nikita Bedrin has definitely held on in fine style. And a really exciting performance. Can we just point out, as Pinky Promise has on the stream, Alex Powell a spot off a point after starting in the back. Absolutely amazing run from the boy from Miami. He's done an absolutely terrific job. So there is your results. Nikita Bedrin taking the victory in front of Kiya Nakamura Berta and Dion Gauda getting his first podium finish. Freddie Slater, Keanu Al-Azari, Jack Beaton and Dorian Pin, Thiago Rodriguez, Gabriel Stilp and Enzo Ye. Let's have a look back over the highlights of the race, particularly this moment at the start. Rashid Al-Aheri, no power, bang! Deegan Fairclough has nowhere to go. Matteo Quintarelli collects him. And actually, to be fair, we're very lucky that nobody else got collected. So Bedrin able to make a good run. A good start for Dion Gauda, put him into 3rd position nice and early. Already some squabbles through the first couple of corners. Some drivers caught out. Others trying to make as good use of the situation as possible. Jovan David could have made a few decent places there had he not been held up by the car running wide in the middle of the gaggle. But a fabulous performance nonetheless as the drivers are in pit lane now and they are celebrating in fine style. Nikita Bedrin taking the victory for PHM AIX. And then a pair of Mumbai Falcons on the podium with him, Kiya Nakamura Berta and Dion Gauda. Some great performances through that race though. Very impressed, particularly with the likes of Dorian Pin, with Jack Beaton, with Gabriel Stilp actually, who really went for it. Very unfortunate for Matteo Quintarelli and Rashid Al-Aheri, along with Deegan Fairclough. That brought out the safety car, and then obviously racing continued in fine style after that point. But I'll pause for the moment and give you a chance to watch these pictures of the highlights of the race. And we'll go straight to the podium, where we will welcome Dion Gauda, Kiya Nakamura Berta and Nikita Bedrin. The rookie sensation who won on his debut a few weeks ago continues to add silverware to his collection, but on the top spot, ladies and gentlemen, your race winner, Nikita Bedrin. A fabulous start to the weekend for PHM AIX Racing and a fabulous performance. Well, great to see the three drivers that we have in position. It's our pleasure to invite Mr. Gianfranco De Bellis, the president of Tartus Racing, who will present the trophies to our competitors on the podium. They have been fantastic over the course of the season, supplying some fantastic machinery for us. And so with our drivers ready to be presented the awards, we will point out that there are 2 trophies to go to one of our drivers onto the rostrum, to be fair, because we have a Rookie Cup winner as well as the overall race winner. And on this occasion, the Rookie Cup win has gone to Kian Nakamura-Berta, who has done a fantastic job. So we will hand the trophies out. In 3rd position, a fabulous performance for Mumbai Falcons Racing, Dion Gowda. And in 2nd position, our fabulous performance from Mumbai Falcons, Kian Nakamura-Berta. And for the race winner overall for PHM AIX, Nikita Bedrin. A fabulous 2nd win of the season, and also a victory for the Rookie Cup. That goes to our man in 2nd overall, Kian Nakamura-Berta. A massive thank you to Mr. Gianfranco De Bellis, the president of Tartus Racing. We will ask the drivers to pose for photographs after a fabulous opening race of the F4 UAE Championship weekend. Let's get them all together on the rostrum. 2 Mumbai Falcons and the race-winning PHM AIX driver, Nikita Bedrin. This is going to be a fabulous continuation of the championship. Neither of the 2 leading men in the championship on the top spots of the podium. So it's definitely going to be ultra competitive. Now the drivers get to celebrate in style. Well, they've decided not to on this occasion. They've obviously got a race to come later. So we are going to continue on with great race action. The Formula Regional Middle East Championship race is coming up next, but there will be more action from F4 UAE later on in race 2.